So here's how I think men are being emotionally manipulated. I think it usually goes in two ways. So either you're good or you're bad. You're good for doing something, or you're bad for doing something, or not doing something. You're shamed for that, or even for being something. So to give some examples, how society wants to control you or anyone, because they often believe what society tells them. So in order to do that, they have to make you bad or make you out to be bad or good for something. And I think that's how they box people in, and how also most likely people close to you box you in, because they have the same thinking. Unless you have the right people, but they can have the same thinking as society, because they believe the same things, or they go along with the beliefs of society. So I give some examples for being bad. So you're bad as a man, or you're bad for being a man. You're bad for not tolerating everything. You're supposed to tolerate everything. There should be no. And you're bad for being angry. You're not supposed to be angry as a man. You're supposed to tolerate everything and not speak up against anything. You're bad for, let's say, not doing something other wants. So if you not do what you're being asked to, then you're bad. You could be bad or made out to be bad for being pro-capitalism or free market. And I think another thing is being bad for not having low standards. So you're supposed to have very low standards, like no standards whatsoever. And I think the big points are you being bad for speaking the truth, or you're made out to be bad for speaking the truth, or you're being bad for being self-empowered. You are not supposed to be self-empowered. You're supposed to be a victim. Now, if you look at what society and other people try to push as the good thing, then you're supposed to be good for taking drugs. You're supposed to be good for being in support of a war. You're supposed to be good to just consume, watch TV and playing games. And you're supposed to be good by being poor. So being rich is a bad thing, or you're bad for being rich. And then the big points, I think, are you're being bad, or you're being good is by being a victim. You're supposed to be a victim. You're supposed to blame everything around you. You're supposed to be a victim in general, like attach yourself to some kind of movement and make yourself out to be a victim. And you're supposed to lie. So you're supposed to reiterate, you're good if you lie. You're supposed to reiterate what society tells you. And what most goes around in society is a lie anyway. But if you reiterate what society says, then you're good. The lying is also, I think, a big factor to why a lot of women are delusional. Because men are being taught it's good to lie, to not tell a woman, like, no, that cooking was not good. It was burnt. Like, you can appreciate the gesture, but it was burnt, it wasn't good. There's the general idea you're supposed to lie and not hurt a woman's feeling, when the truth, which is seen as the bad thing, could better someone and improve that person. At least they're in reality and they can improve on what they do and who they are. But if they're not being told the truth and they're only being lied to, then they are having a bad life path ahead of them. But that's essentially what you're good for. You're supposed to lie, and you're bad if you speak the truth. And I think that's how men are being emotionally manipulated, how they're being boxed in. So you're supposed to do things that make you out to be good, which are actually not good for you. And you're bad if you do things that are good for yourself, for society, or others, and that's supposed to make you bad. So that's how I think many men are emotionally manipulated. And it always comes down to being bad or being good. So I think it can be broken down to only those two things. And those are my thoughts to how men are being emotionally manipulated. If you have any thoughts, then feel free to leave them in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video.